So, Jared Cannonier. Now, let me share this from my perspective, just to personalize it. I'm working ESPN one night. We have a guest that comes on set. It's Jared Cannonier. I had never met Jared, but I love his story, and I enjoy getting to bring it to you guys. I mean, this was a man that was driving truck in Alaska with a dream of MMA, where he was competing in matches at heavyweight. Without even knowing the rest of the story, okay? If that's home plate, by the time I get you rounded to third base on this, he's not only an 85-pounder, where I'm not positive he ever stopped off at 205. If he stopped off at 205, I can't think of it off the top of my head. He goes from heavyweight to 185. I don't think you have to correct me on that detail. I'm just sharing for you. It wasn't meaningful at that weight class, and I'm not even positive he hit it. He goes to 85, top guy in the world. I mean, this is a top guy in the world. This is a main eventer who doesn't understand and doesn't do media. He doesn't come out with the tweets that make everybody laugh and get shared. And some of you absolutely love that, and believe it or not, I'm not criticizing it. I'm sharing it as part of the story because he didn't do that, but he still made it to the main event. And now he's staying there. And if you slip co-main events in, you got to go back 3 years of Jared Cannonier being on top. All right. Now, when I meet him, when he walks onto the set for ESPN, I extend my hand, I say, I'm Chael, and I give him the pat on the back. My father used to call that the good buddy. He didn't like it. My father thought you should shake hands and this other hand does nothing. I came around the back. Hey, how you doing, good buddy? All right. Guys, it was like touching a wall. It was unbelievable. And I've heard that expression before. All right, touch that guy, and it's just like touching steel. You hear that expression? It's as close as I ever felt. I'm telling you, this man's body and this man's density, and just that I felt, I'm right up here on the shoulder, so you kind of get a little of this trap muscle in there. I couldn't believe it. And I even made a comment. I said, what the Jesus, Jared? You are a dense, strong man. Okay, great. So we have our conversation, and he was so pleasant. He was just this perfectly nice guy. And that's the word on the street about Jared Cannonier. You guys will remember why Jared fought Israel Adesanya. Do you remember that? Adesanya has picked his own fights from the beginning of his career. It has truly been shocking to watch Adesanya maneuver. And there's so many guys that he dislikes that there's never a shortness for someone that's going to come off of Israel's tongue, except for Cannonier. Why did he fight him? Well, it was the exact opposite. They were both guests at a UFC. So the UFC determines where you're going to sit. They just bring you in and go, hey, your chair's here, your chair's here. They get sat next to each other, and Adesanya's like, oh, great. Knucklehead in my weight class. Done this dance before. I'm going to have to put up with this all night long. It was the opposite. Jared was a gentleman. Jared was nice to him. They left on very friendly terms. And Adesanya said, you know what, if I ever have an opportunity, I'm going to give it to that guy. Not when I have the power, I'm going to make this guy get in there with me. I'm going to give an opportunity to this guy, and as soon as that opened itself, Adesanya followed through and they fought. So I'm just sharing with you, you have, in my own personal experience, but also seemingly in through reputation, you just have a very nice guy. You have a gentleman here. Now, that gentleman doesn't do media, and that's relevant. Because he's got an incredible look, right? I lifted weights my whole life trying to look like Jared Cannonier. Got incredible win-loss. He's made it to the top. He's going to have to take on really hard guys. And it's tough, even with those ingredients, to not do media and be a main event. It's just tough. Not a ton of guys that you can find that do that. Jared comes out yesterday. He does what's called a media scrum. It was after that media scrum that I realized he should not be doing media. So Jared comes out. I'm just telling a story, guys. I'm just giving you a story as we build in and look forward to this weekend. That is my goal over here. But I got to give him a bump, man. It was terrible. He comes out, and they ask him about Adesanya versus Alex, and specifically the stoppage. And he says, you know what? I can see both sides of it. I can see it's a championship fight. Let him go out on his shield. And I can see the other side, which is, whoa, no, let me stop you right there, Jared. I don't need to hear the other side. That one's wrong. Now, he does finish the thought to say, I can see the other one, which is, he looked like he was in trouble, stop the fight. No, wait, time out. There are not two arguments. So then he went even further. He took like 3 minutes answering this question. If you ever want to see a guy that hedged his bet, you ever want to see a guy that dipped his toe in the cold end while dipping his toe in the other end, it was this answer. I could see the argument of him going out on his shield. It's a championship fight. I could see that. But if you left him in there, he might take more damage. Doesn't need to take that damage. I can see that fight. I can see that argument as well. And he says, I don't have an opinion on the argument. I'm just letting you know I understand the argument. It's like, no, you do not. There was nothing about what you just said that is the argument. It has never been spoken. It's a championship fight. Let him go out on his shield. Those words have never been, that's not the argument, which is why I found it so funny. And I really did. I mean, I found this actually humorous. First off, he spent 3 minutes going absolutely nowhere. He gets to no opinion whatsoever. Which to share that opinion is the only reason he was asked the question. So he doesn't give the one thing that he was supposed to do. Oh, and by the way, he states his understanding of an argument. No, he did not. That is not part of the argument. No one is arguing that because it was a championship fight, he should have gone out on his shield. Not to mention the illegality with the fact that you cannot call a match different. It doesn't matter if there's a minute left. It doesn't matter if there's a minute in. It doesn't matter if it's for the belt. It doesn't matter if you're jerking the curtain. The application of the rule must be straightforward and given within the interpretation, which everybody knows. But apparently he didn't know that we knew that because he said he knew two sides of the argument and he brought in 50% of an argument that's never been made.